There we go. So let's get the ball going, so to speak, on this thing. Okay. This is the club membership action plans. What we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about how we're going to create some intentionality. And we're going to create about how we're going to help our membership chairs, as well as the rest of our clubs, to create something that will create some movement in membership. Clubs that there's two membership axioms that we start off with. And those are clubs that focus on membership will always see results, just like a business. If we create strategies and direction, we'll experience growth. And the second axiom is every club that wants to grow can and will grow. And we're just going to keep that in the front of today. So our agenda today will be club action plans. We're going to be talking about setting up those action plans and creating a goal, a strategy, and then the breakout sessions will break this meeting into three different sessions. The first one will be on attraction. I'll be doing the first one on attraction, and then we're going to go into a breakout session. This is where the magic happens. We're going to be talking about best practices, and then we are going to go come out of that. We'll go into onboarding. Chris Waugh, our past district membership chair, as well as our governor nominee, is going to have a great conversation on onboarding. We'll have another breakout session, and then we're going to we'll come back, have a best practice. Then we're going to go right into engagement. And we're going to talk about engagement, and then we're going to conclude and have a quick conversation about the takeaways from this and move forward on that. So why a club membership action plan? Well, what we want to create is an intentionality. What we found is clubs that are acting with intentionality, have a plan, and actually refer back to their plan are much more successful. So the next slide is pretty straightforward, but what happens is when we create an intentional leadership, we get better results. If you are in a club that has, no leadership or just static, what happens is really there's not a lot of movement going on. If you go up on that screen, you're going to see a wishful leadership. And that's where they've got great goals, they've got great ideas, but nobody's running and taking the charge on that. If you look at the other side of it, obviously you're going to see vague leadership. What that is, that may be where a club that is just kind of going through the motions, they're doing a good job, but they're not really having any goals in mind. So we're hoping today that we're going to try to move everybody into that upper grid, which it talks about intentional leadership. And we're going to do that through an action plan. So with that, let's see if I can move this around. There it is. How do we do that? Well, we're going to get an action plan together by utilizing meaningful data to inform our action plan goals. Hopefully you all have your club worksheets with you, and we'll talk about those, and we'll actually show some examples of those. You want to survey your members. You really want to know what your members are thinking. You want to know what they're thinking, because sometimes there's a big divide between what you want to do and what they want to do. And we're going to show you some tools about that. We're going to develop a plan. We're going to create this plan that's going to give us some tactics, strategies, and some priorities, put some timelines on it and see what we can do with it. Then we're going to monitor it. We're going to go in our club, in our membership meetings, we're going to talk about monitoring and managing priorities on a regular basis. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to review your club's attraction data. That's where that worksheet comes in. We're going to drill down on that a little bit. We're going to verify your club membership profile reports on Rotary Club Central. Well, we've already done that because what you have in front of you is current as of October 1. And if you ever need to get that type of data, you can find it in Rotary Club Central, or you can go ahead and email your local district club, your district membership chair. He's a great guy, and he'll get back to you in at least a month. Nobody's left out there over 30 days. That's my goal. Anyway, determine agreed upon average annual attrition rate. This is a big one. clubs, we're going to talk about attrition rates. There is a national attrition rate, and we have to take that into consideration. We can't ignore it. And so we're going to talk about that as well. So we're going to go right to the first example here. So if we're going to looking at this example, this is a club that if you look at up in the left-hand corner, we're talking about attrition rates, attraction rates, and net growth. So this is attrition rate that talks about right now they're experiencing a 9.3% attrition rate. That is actually the North American average. North American average is about 9.5. I like to use 10% just because it's easier to figure out the math. But in all honesty, clubs will have an attrition rate. This has an attraction rate of 8%. So that's telling me that with an attraction rate of 8%, obviously they're losing 1.3% of their membership growth. So this is where they want to key in on. In this case, and by the way, over on the right-hand side, you'll see that less than 15%. That's a global number. Globally, the attrition rate is 15%. North America, it's about 9.5. So this club is losing it. So, but their attrition rate is within standards. Me personally, I don't know if I'll ever believe, I would never accept the 9.3. But unfortunately, we really have to understand that as part of what we do as clubs. People move. Working from home has created a whole new level of professionalism that we really would like to see our people. So in this case, their attrition rate, I would say we should maybe focus on the attraction side of their club sitting down as a membership chair. Example 2, if you look at this club, they have a 22.4% attrition rate. That's pretty significant. That's higher than everybody's average. If you look at the annual attraction rate, you're going to see that they're bringing in 10.2%. So this club has got something going on. People are leaving this club. Members are leaving this club. And if I was in this particular club as a membership chair, I would be interested in maybe some exit interviews. Why are these people leaving? Maybe we're bringing in people that just, they just aren't ready to be part of the Rotarian experience, and maybe we got to work on that. Regardless of that, this club is an example of why, your attraction rate seems to be working, but I would work heavier looking at that attrition rate and maybe doing some work with the attraction rate. But this is where the focus will be. So the next worksheet is pretty simplistic in the fact that if you look on the left side, it gives you 5 years. It gives you your trend of your club, tells you where you're going with your clubs. Obviously the pandemic is going to skew those numbers, but there's no getting around it. It is what it is, and we have to work with it. So this goal setting, this was an older template, and it talks about an estimated membership as of July 1. If you were either a president or a club membership chair and say you had an estimated club of 40, so you're going to say as of July 1, we have 40 in that box, and we want to get to 45, and that's an agreed upon goal. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So you're going to want to see if you have 40 now, you want to get to 45, you need 5. But if your club's attrition rate is at 6, you're going to need 11 new members. So sitting down, you have to be aware that you need to be looking at 11 members a year. That's almost 1 a month. And we'll talk about why I like looking at this on a monthly basis. But you want to stay away from those yearly goals because they have a tendency to get diluted. So you really want to keep this in front of you. So how do we do this? Here's 2 great tools, your club health check and your member assessment tools. These are all available at RI. You're going to get a lot of plugs about this because there is an unbelievable amount of resources. Your club health check. If you can't find this document, again, contact your local club, your district membership chair, and I will have these resources available for you. But I really want you to get into that RI because in all honesty, there's over 800 programs in there and they're well done, very professional. So now we're looking at developing our plan. We've utilized our data. We've taken a look at our worksheets, and we're going to identify primary areas of focus. This is where we're looking at where do we want to focus on that. And we're going to talk about developing tactics. Hopefully the breakout rooms will give you some great ideas on where you're going to be able to affect these areas that you feel are important. And again, if you look at this, the tip of the day is Rotary Learning Center. It's just the resource is something you can't miss. So this is a drilled down template of where this club, if this club says it has at this time it has 95 members, they want to gain 5. That's a pretty good goal. Shouldn't be hard to meet, but they're losing 15 members a year. So what they really need to be focusing on is developing strategies for 20. So they should be looking at 20 on a yearly basis. And so that's pretty close to 2 a month. And that's why you want to look at them monthly to say, are we bringing in these candidates, these nominees, these people, these members that we'd like to have at that type of rate. And this is something you want to keep monitoring and always keep in the forefront of what you're doing as a club membership chair. This is a template. This is a very, very distilled template of what we will be using. I didn't add this to you to today's worksheets, and the reason being is it's more of to create conversation during the breakout session. If you want a larger template of this, we have them. But what it really is doing is these are the 3 breakout sessions we're going to be talking about: attracting new members, onboarding new members, and engaging the existing members. The first breakout session will be attracting members. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be sitting in a breakout room talking about best practices, and you're going to be creating tactics. And then you're going to put it in responsibility, who's responsible, and a date. This tactic might be something as simplistic as contacting the Chamber of Commerce and asking if they had some ideas about some corporate memberships. And maybe that's going to be somebody from your committee. It doesn't have to be the chair. And it doesn't have to be out for a year. It might be a week. Just say, hey, we'd like to get involved, or we'd like to contact. It just creates activity. And this is just one of many, many tactics that you create. But we want to start with some pretty standard, slow progress right now. So start thinking about tactics for this, and hopefully the breakout sessions will bring you some good ideas. Monitor and manage. So now that we've got our plan, we got some tactics, we've written down what we're thinking, we are looking at launching that. So we sit down and say, okay, let's just start doing. You start doing it, you start getting people involved, and then you assess. You look at it monthly. Every club should be starting, every membership should sit down and go, okay, where are we at? How's our numbers? And assess what we're doing. And you adapt. If you're beating your head against the wall and your tactics aren't working, well, change your tactics. And this is why down there is the tip. It says, break them down into quarterly priorities. I prefer monthly. You really want to keep it in front of you if you can. So we're going to say questions, but I really want to keep this down to a minimum just because of time frame. For those that you weren't at the beginning, this was originally almost a 3-hour meeting, and so we're trying to get it down to less than 2. So if we can keep our questions in the chat and see if Chris can keep up with answering those, but we will be responding to every one of those. Okay, so the first part of this is about attracting new members. So let's talk about the tools that we have available. Attraction can be boiled down to 2 different things: recruiting and a vibrant club, a vibrant atmosphere. So what do you want to do? How do we establish a goal? And how do we make our environment compelling? A vibrant club is something that naturally compels members to invite other people. But for now, recruiting is something that I don't think we do enough. And once we design what our club structure is, we can get a little better at recruiting. So if you're looking at it, most clubs, their club culture is designed somewhere around these 5 avenues of service. And if you look at them, and we all should know these, but they're fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. So here's a couple of examples. If you look at Club A looks, their priorities are fellowship, diversity, and service. So this may be a younger professional club. This may be something that socials are very big to them. They might look at their fellowship through a diversity level. They might be inviting a lot of diverse cultures in their community, and they are let's see, where are we at right here? We are talking about, they might be a networking club, and they're going to create a culture that promotes that. So their leadership might be more about, or their service might be more about doing community service based on some of their priorities. It might be either an economic base, an environmental base. That is just, they're going to look at their fellowship first, and then as their service will be catered around how their fellowship structures that. Club B is their service first. They might be a check writing club, but they still might have a lot of community hands-on in their culture. Their fellowship comes from their service projects. They just enjoy doing things together, and that's where some of that fellowship comes from. And their leadership will be more committee-based. And this Club B has a tendency to bring in they're going to be based around their committees, whether it's fundraising or community, and they're going to be more focused on their leadership style will be on execution and action. They just want to get out there and do things together. That's where their fun comes from, their club. Club C is a leadership club. They focus on leadership, integrity, and service. So their leadership may be based on their speaking skills. They might have adopted some sort of Toastmaster program. We actually do have Toastmaster programs in our learning channel, our learning center, excuse me. So again, you really want to take a look at those. They're going to focus on professional development. Maybe they're going to look at public speaking. Maybe they're going to look at presentation. They're going to do things that are going to put them, maybe their brand or their public image is going to be more of a seen in public type of atmosphere. Their integrity is going to probably, they're going to focus on integrity. It might be something through a 4-way test or the Rotary values, things that actually help support their thought process. Then, of course, their service may be, an annual fundraiser. Normally, groups like this are going to have global grants and community grants. And again, these are just examples of how structures and cultures and clubs are. So as you're sitting there, think about your club, take a look at it, do your club surveys and your health checks, and find out pretty much where your club, where it's not so much going, but where it is. What are the type of members you have with you? Because what it'll do is it'll help you create your recruiting skills. Public image. When you're recruiting, public image is everything. We have a new public image chair. It's Heather Edwards. She's new, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think she's going to be a great person and a very good asset for you to interact with. I know Chris has got some exciting things coming forward in the leadership side of this thing that involve public image and Heather. And so you're going to look at things like you belong here. You want to create that in your club structure. When people come in as members, you want them to feel that they belong here. Just remember that public image and marketing it's not about your posters, it's about telling a story. Over there on your right-hand side, you're going to see a tent. Maybe your club wants to focus on professional women. You're looking for, if you see in your club, in your communities, my club actually has a leadership in women through the Chamber of Commerce. You might want to be involved in that, or actually, if they have events, you might want to put up a tent. That way, everybody you're talking to will be a possible candidate for the structure of your club. Of course, when you're looking at club structures, there are many, many options. You're looking at corporate membership options, family membership options, young professional membership options. Some of these are pretty straightforward. Some of them have some great ideas. We talk about flexibility in meetings. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of people may be working from home. Maybe that noon lunch doesn't always work, for everybody out there. So you want to find ways that you can help keep these people involved in your service community projects. Young professionals creating mentorship programs. These are all things that help keep building the structure of your club. As you look down there, creative club structures, again, there is lots of learning center ideas where we're going to be talking about things that we can do to create, the structures for your clubs, dues, meeting times, and more. Same thing with the Together We Connect. Both great Great options and great thing. It's a lot of great material in them. Some of you may be very, very familiar with these. We're talking about attraction tools. These are the tools that help you. They are all available, at the Learning Center. I can help you get them. I would prefer you to go to the Learning Center first, only because you will discover a new world of that's out there that you may or may not. It is estimated that only 5 members in each club actually log on to RI. Don't know how to substantiate that number, but I could see that because I'm victim to that myself. Until I became a membership chair, and now I can't leave the place. On your left hand is a portal for engaging younger professionals. If you are in there and you see that and you click on that link, that is a portal devoted specifically for how to engage younger professionals. On your right hand side is the Brand Center. Brand Center is anything. If it has a Rotary symbol, a letter, a business card, you'll find it there. It has every single thing that you can steal, beg, borrow, and it has some guidelines. And so you really want to make sure that you visit that. Judy Corwin did an excellent program at RLI on Brand Center. And if not just for a plug, there is another RLI coming up, and we can talk about Brand Center a little bit more there, but that is something that you really want to know about and know that it is a tool that exists. So we're going to start talking a little bit about your breakout instructions and some of the things that you're going to do here real quick. First of all, what you're going to do in the breakout session is we're going to ask you to how you might influence your members to place the appropriate amount of emphasis on attraction. So as you go back to your clubs, what are some of the ideas? This is a best practice breakout. What tools might you utilize? What are some of the things at other clubs? We want positive examples. We want you to be able to sit down and talk about things that work. We could fill the day up with things that didn't work, but we really want to talk about things that do work. And so I am going to make a very an attempt to put you all in 10 breakout sessions. What we're going to do is when you get to that breakout session, we want you to talk about creating a facilitator. We'd like somebody in that group to kind of be your spokesman, maybe a scribe. And when we come back from that person will have about a minute. We're going to do 15 minutes in the breakout session. We're going to try to limit it down to 10 minutes to have a conversation when you come back on some of those practices that have worked and sharing with the group. So as we say that, we are going to go to, let me stop sharing my screen here. There we are. And Chris, why am I having problems finding where my breakout section is? You're on mute, Chris.
There are 3 dots at the bottom, I think, on my screen anyway. It says more. And then you'll have your break